Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are extremely sorry that this session is starting really late due to some technical reasons. But since we have all our panelists here and we do not want to delay the rest of the schedule, all our panelists are here. I would request Ms. Khyati ji to please come up on stage. Our next speaker for the session is Mr. Pan Nalin, writer, director, and producer. So I would request you to please come up on stage. Mr. Pravesh Sahni ji, the international line producer who has done many acclaimed films in India, and the moderator, Ms. Udita Jhunjhunwala, who is an entertainment and lifestyle writer, film critic, and author. So this session is on the state of Gujarat and what Gujarat has been doing to make the state film friendly. So we would run a short AV and I would request the panelists to give us, keep it brief. We are extremely sorry that this session has gotten delayed, but we would like to start now. Thank you. Can we please run the AV?
બેટા તારે અહીંથી ભાગી કેમ જવું છે?
મને મારા બાપાએ ફટકાર્યો. ફિલ્મ જોવા ગયો તો નથી.
ખોટા ઠીક એમ નથી જાઉં ને.
તમે લોકો રોજ આવું હારું હારું ખાવાનું ખાઓ ઘરે? રોજ રોજ
મને ફિલ્મ જોવા તો દેશો ને.
ફિલ્મ
वो देखेंगे हाय
સમય બધું જ ખતમ થઈ ગયું. છેલ્લો શો હતો. છેલ્લો શો.
મારે પ્રકાશ ભણવું છે. પ્રકાશમાં જ વાર્તા બને અને વાર્તામાં જ ફિલ્મ.
આ બધો ખેલ વાર્તાનો ખેલ. ભવિષ્યના બધા માલિકો વાર્તાકારો છે.
I think we have one more AV. Sorry, that was the AV for Pan Nalin's film, last film show, which many of you know was India's entry to the Oscars and was on the shortlist for Best Film. We have another AV from Gujarat Tourism, which we'd like to see now. Thank you. Till we cue the film, this was not the order that I had intended to do the questions, but we'll just jump in. Nalin, maybe you can share a little bit about your experience of shooting in Gujarat. This is the second film you did there. What has the experience been like for you between the Ayurveda documentary and last film show?
I think for me, of course, I had spent my childhood in Kathiawad, so returning there to search for location and sort of falling again in love with amazing location which Gujarat has, especially the region of Kathiawad where I needed setting like that for the cello show. The vibrant culture, the nature, everything we were looking for was there. One of the most key element which also attracted me is there are very few narrow gauge or meter gauge train left in India. So I'm glad that Western Railway and maybe Gujarat government, I don't know who, but they preserved this 70-kilometer heritage line which is really like going back through the time. And one of my most amazing memories that when you take that 70-kilometer train ride, of course, all the doors and windows are open. It's going at very slow speed. It crosses Sasangir forest. So you sit in the train, and this is not a safari tour. You can see deer, you can see all the animal and peacock and people going to work. It's just absolutely like timeless. So, and that just was something which we also wanted to recreate in our film. So I think those who have seen the film, you have seen the raw beauty of these villages, and railway stations are spotlessly clean. They grow grass on the platform, and so like the station you see in my film, we didn't do anything except just change the name. It's filled with flower pots. So this 2-meter gauge line which go to just impressed me quite a lot. And they are in totally working condition. And of course, the lake around Dhari, and we worked with forest department to search. We wanted some shots of lion, but in natural habitat. We didn't want any visual effects. So we had one scene where kids are looking at lion and betting on lion, that who will rise first, us or lion, So that was again a great discovery, that how local people are living in harmony with nature. Yeah. Overall, it was absolutely amazing. And the light, because very often we forget that light is a big important element. So if you are shooting in Europe, you have very less sunlight, and also Gujarat has, great daylight from morning to evening. Besides the location, it's very important point for cinematographers.
That's a really valid point. Khyati ji, it's very interesting because when we think of Gujarat as a shooting location, we of course think of the Run of Kutch, and we think of the Kite Festival, we think of the Stepwells, Champanet. There are few locations that immediately come to mind. But is there much more to it? Are there many things we're missing?
Udita, thank you for asking this particular question, because when it comes to Gujarat, people only remember about lions and Somnath, Dwarka, Statue of Unity. But I would definitely like to focus on this point, that Gujarat has got much, much, much more than this. And films are the best medium through which we actually showcase the Gujarat and Gujarat's unexplored and lesser known destination. And there are so many virgin locations through which filmmakers can get fresh and virgin backdrop for their films. So I would definitely request all the filmmakers from across the globe, and of course renowned filmmakers and producers. They have already experienced, and I would again invite them also to be in Gujarat and explore the virgin locations of Gujarat.
I think there's some technical issue with the AV, unfortunately. So,
okay, so no worries. You can share, you can ask Mr. Pravesh Sahni to share his experience.
Yes.
Meanwhile, my colleague Harsh will take care of that
great.
part.
So, Mr. Pravesh Sahni runs a very successful line production company, which he's the co-founder of, called Take One. And they shot a massive Hollywood movie action extravaganza where they shot in Ahmedabad, which was a substitute for another town. I'm going to let you talk about it. But Pravesh, if you could share your experiences of shooting an international production in a state like Gujarat, because I'm sure there were very particular requirements, both from the crew and from the people who make up the crew.
Firstly, I'd like to thank the Gujarat tourism. I've shot all over India, but the experience in Gujarat was amazing. We shot this movie called Extraction. If you people have seen it, it's got 90% the movie is based on stunts. And we had Chris Hemsworth, and we had about 70 stuntmen from the US doing the stunts. There were car chases, there were smashes, there were blasts. So, and to do all that, we need to lock and secure all locations. And I would really like to thank, and if there's another movie, with these type of stunts, I'll close my eyes and go back to Madam and Gujarat Tourism to make it happen, because I've even done Mission Impossible, in Bombay. Locking and blocking in this country with, becomes a nightmare because we are not still used to, like the American way, to say that this street is going to be locked, take the alternative street. People consider the freedom that this road leads to my house, it's my way, and you need to get out. And I think the police department and Khyati were amazing in helping us do that. Although for international films, what I was talking to Khyati yesterday, that, because being a dry state, and we had 142, we had taken up a complete hotel there. So I was requesting ma'am that, I do understand and respect the sentiments that it's a dry state and we maintain that. I was requesting that, if we are in a particular hotel, if that can be relaxed to a studio, may it be Netflix or any international studio, that we could at least have, our evenings in a pleasant, because after working 12 to 14 or 16 hours, when the crew comes back, they need a little more relaxation instead of saying, go to your room and chill in your room. People want to hang out together, especially on the weekends. We work 5 days. So if this part can come back to, because I was doing another job after this, it was by Apple TV and it's called Shantaram. We went to Bhopal, but they had actually loved Ahmedabad again. But, they came back to me saying it's anti-social. So I was a little surprised. Why are they saying that? So I spoke to the head of the studio, and they said, these are the people working on Extraction. When they came back, they said they felt very, tied up because it's a long shoot. And thus, we lost that movie to Madhya Pradesh because of Gujarat. So if ma'am can put it up at some senior level, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot more movies. The infrastructure there is very good. The government is the police. Everything works very smoothly hand in hand. I'd again like to thank them. Just to let you know, it's the most watched movie around the globe on the OTT platform. Extraction. If you haven't seen it, we've taken out the Extraction 2 also now.
And
Thank you.
Ahmedabad was substituting for Dhaka, right?
Yeah, Bangladesh. Because the studio didn't want to go to Bangladesh, so we shot there. We've done a lot more movies where, we've created Pakistan in India, but mostly that's been in Zero Dark 30, we shot for the entire Pakistan section in Chandigarh and Patiala. In Wedding Guest, we did again. We've done about Homeland, again we shot in Amritsar. So all these places do duplicate where the foreign crew doesn't want to go to such countries.
Khyati ji wanted to add something.
Yeah, I would just request Pravesh ji that we have already discussed this issue, but I would certainly take it up, and based on our earlier discussion, we are revising the clauses, and for tourism policy also we are making this provision of giving permissions, kind of a blanket permission for the foreign crews and foreign tourists. And so as the case with cinematic tourism also, we would definitely like to revise our policy clause. Those who are coming for shooting in Gujarat, the liquor permission also will be granted to them. So we are in the process of that, and government will definitely do in this regard.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There's a question that's been coming up, while I've been talking to people here. The federal government announced, a new incentive package at the beginning of Film Bazaar. And there's a question about whether Gujarat would give the incentives in tandem with the federal incentives.
Yes, of course. Central and state can be possible, but for one state, two benefits is not possible. Yeah.
Right. And Nalin, I'd like to come to you. From the time of getting the permissions and getting, all your paperwork in line, to actually going to these smaller towns, to these places to execute your vision, how seamless is it? Are there problems? Are there bottlenecks? Or did you find that it was a seamless process?
Honestly, it wasn't that smooth as we expected, because, there are, we went to, Khyati ji, and we got all the permissions. And they were very cooperative. But once we sort of come down to, it's little bit information may be required, because we didn't know how many departments we have to contact, especially when you get into a very remote part. So the forest department, the railway department, the rural, the sarpanch, the local politicians, they all have their say in a, so they respect what we have got letter from, but I think maybe some kind of a liaison contact in the beginning, I would suggest would help. Like one person can just come for one day and say, okay, like some places we had to even explain who has given this letter to us, so, and then railway falls under Western Railway. So we had to, so one part of railway was under Gujarat state government. One part was we had to go to Mumbai because that's the head office is in Bombay. So first they told us to go to a place called Bhavnagar, which is the headquarters. So there were a couple of logistic issues where we lost time. But once we meet them, there was a total cooperation. It's just to figure out how to go where, those guidelines. Because the stations are different permission, railway station, the meter gauge railway is a different permission, and so that those logistics, to coordinate was little challenging for us. But once all that came into, fell into the line, we were able to shoot smoothly, beginning to end. Yeah.
Khyatiji, are there any plans to set up more infrastructure for filmmaking, like a film city perhaps?
See, actually, Gujarat Tourism has announced a cinematic tourism policy in 2022 only. Under that, we have, actually this policy is divided into three parts. One is what Mr. Nalin said. It's all about creating an ecosystem. Under that, the ease of shooting that we have considered, that is one part of the policy. Second part is to give incentives to the film makers for the shoots. And third is for creating and investing in Gujarat for film infrastructure. So the policy is broadly divided into these three parts. When it comes to ease of shooting, we have already created a single window system for this. But when central agencies are coming in picture, so that's why some hustle-bustle is coming in, in between. But states, authorities and state department are very well covered under this single window. We have our web portal also, which is having all the information, the data gallery of all filmmakers. It is having a list of all district authorities, local artisans, local producers, line producers, and other stuff which is required during your film shoot. The film incentives, we are giving 25% of cost of production. Whoever is spending in Gujarat for their shoots, so 25% of COP is given to them. When it comes to infrastructure, we gave capital subsidy. We also give kind of a 20% discount on their COP. And whatever investment they are making, so if it's below 500 CR, it is again 20%. And if it is above 500 CR, government is helping with the land facilities also. Land or long lease, yeah. So these are the policy benefits. And those who are branding Gujarat state or any particular tourism destination in their film, we are giving additional 5% on that. Yeah, and for the international filmmakers also, we are providing the interpreters also if they are needed, and dedicated liaison officer. So to avoid all these on-ground difficulties.
Yeah, that's the last point which ma'am said. To give us a nodal officer 1 point, that really helps. She was our liaison officer or the nodal or one person. She would get up from her office and go to see the police commissioner. So one nodal officer really helps a producer because she or that person understands the various steps in the government. Who is going to clear this and who is the right person, instead of what sir said that you're not wasting time. So if you have one government person with you who guides you through, that really helps.
I wanted to ask also, how many shooting permissions in a year do you give?
See, we usually keep data bank. As I said, we have created a single window system, but still there are some small shoots are happening, be it TV commercial or any other. It is also still scattered. It is not still following the single window system, but on an average, we can say that more than 100 films or any type of shooting for that matter is happening in Gujarat.
I was curious, Nalin, that you know, when you have to choose a location, I mean, of course, the last picture show was
Yeah.
autobiographical, so it was, you were drawn to Gujarat naturally. But if you were to choose a shooting location and say you were looking for a palace hotel or a,
Yeah.
you know, heritage space, how would you make the decision? If it was not intrinsic to the story, how would you make the decision?
I think sometime, you know, as sir mentioned, geographically, like Bangladesh was created. So today we have a lot of cinematic liberties because of VFX. So for example, I have extensively traveled in region of Kutch. There are so many places where we can, you know, maybe create Jordan even, you know. So if your film happens in certain part of India, in any part of the world, there's a possibility to use so it's a question of how practical it's all going to be, you know, logistics wise for the cast and crew to stay. And on top of that, whether it makes, I'm sure, economical sense to use palaces or, but I mean, Gujarat has forest and has, you know, the desert of Kutch and quite a few monuments, you know, which could be something else rather than just Gujarat.
You have Kathy ji here on stage. If you had to ask her for any three things that would make it, you know, Gujarat more film, it's already
No,
an
I
award
would just
winning.
like to do one suggestion which I thought of while I was talking to producer for Khyati ji. I think it will be, one thing is to make a film in Gujarat, but I felt, you know, when we saw the success of our movie in Japan and places like that, I felt, you know, Lord, we wished we had Gujarat tourism with us. Because in Japan, they literally published themselves a book about Gujarat tourism, you know, in Japanese. Then they published a recipe book about all the food which appears. You know, same thing happened in Italy, because many people started wondering, where in India, why are you showing lion? Because they think there's no lions in India. So that's where the curiosity started. Oh, where is this Gujarat? Why there's a Siddhi boy who looks like African? You know, and so the Japanese just made a whole booklet. What is Gujarat? The nature, flora, fauna, the people of Gujarat, history of Gujarat, and starting. So I think that could be an interesting thing, that some films, when they travel abroad, it kind of tourism can ride, you know, like when we did Oscar campaign, we were in so much of rush, but we had so many celebrities coming to watch the film, you know, so there could have been event where, you know, Gujarat tourism, if the film is shot there, not only I'm saying my film, any film, it might be a good opportunity to take one step forward in the journey after the film is made.
You were just talking about, you know, palaces. There was a big TV show, I think the youngsters love it. It's called Lotus. So, you know, White Lotus. So we were competing with various countries, and I was going to get that. But we scouted, and they loved some palaces. But the problem here is, when you go to a palace hotel, which is run by one of these big five-star chains, and you tell them you want it for 60 days, the amount they ask you is like 3 to 4 crores a day. And doesn't, so we lost that to Thailand this year. And just because of, they loved our locations. The director loved the locations, but we lost it just because of the financial and the budget reasons. And we are hoping that by next year we should be able to get that. We're talking to various, you know, tourism people, if they can subsidize that, because that is going to be again like a James Bond or a Mission Impossible, that people are going to see it worldwide.
I think that's the thing with films and tourism, and we talk about, you know, film-friendly states and so on, but it's also very symbiotic, right? You get the support, you put a film out there, then the people watch it, and then suddenly places like Ladakh and whatnot become huge tourist attractions after they've seen Three Idiots. That lake has never been the same again. So, you know, are you noticing that there is this sort of, you know, people are watching content and coming back and wanting to go to specific locations?
Absolutely. In the beginning only, I said कि films are the best medium of tourism promotion, and through films we can actually showcase what scenic beauty is there in particular region. So according to me, being a tourism person, I would definitely say for the promotion of tourism, films are the best medium. And in continuation with this, I would like to show my AV also, which like, you know, words cannot describe any beautiful destination. So without talking much, I would like to take you virtual to Gujarat. So let's have a look at the AV of Gujarat tourism.
Our films, our stories, films beyond boundaries, films beyond time, films that have shaped us, our society and our country as something bigger, better and brighter. They raised our voice when we were too hesitant to speak up. We always knew about Mahatma Gandhi. They took us on his journey from Gandhi to Mahatma. We vaguely knew that the most precious thing that this country has is its freedom. They made us realize it. We always knew we should play, not just cricket. They made it loud and clear. We always knew history to be a great teacher. They taught it in detail. And that is why today, our Indian cinema is the largest film industry on the planet, with about 2,000 films across 20 languages being produced every year. And the numbers are piling up. Even Gujarati films have seen quantum growth. One of the largest and fastest growing sectors in the Indian motion pictures, television industry and online video services contributes 3,489.72 billion rupees to the country's economy. The sector also supports a significant 26.62 lakh jobs for our people. And Gujarat is proud to be a favorite destination for the filmmakers across India. Having won the National Film Awards for Best Film Promotion Friendly State, Gujarat welcomes you filmwalas to come and explore Gujarat through your lenses. Gujarat has also been a location to many national award-winning Gujarati films like Reva and Helaro. It has proudly been part of Hollywood films like Out of the Fire, which was also shot in beautiful locations of Gujarat. So, come, paint your stories on this beautiful canvas, Gujarat.
Silence, lights, roll sound, camera, action.
હે રાઇટર ના મનનો કટકો ઉપર આ ડિરેક્ટર નો ભપકો કોરિયોગ્રાફર નો છે લટકો ને માથે ડીઓપી નો ઝટકો અરે એસી હો લોકેશન કે દિલ બોલે એક્શન 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 ગબ્બર સિંઘ સિંઘમ કાયપો છે દો કુડુ રઈસ और મગધીરા
गुजरात फिल्मी चेहरे गुजरात गर्वी चेहरे गुजरात फिल्मी चेहरे गुजरात गर्वी चेहरे गुजरात मस्त चेहरे और जबरदस्त चेहरे गुजरात फिल्मी चेहरे गुजरात गर्वी चेहरे. Gujarat has everything to offer for filmmakers.
From a sweeping coastline to languid hill stations. From nature to architecture. From a white desert to lush green forests. From rivers to mountains. From royal palaces to raw streets. From ecotourism parks to mesmerizing malls. From craft to heritage. From ancient civilizations to modern marvels. From consistent connectivity to steadfast power supply. From friendly policies to a familiar government. From quick administration to undisturbed law and order. From a single window clearance system for films, documentaries, web series, TV series and advertisements to warm-hearted people. From good governance to great hospitality. Set your cameras rolling on this land of lions. So many locations at one location. Gujarat. Beauty, diversity, simplicity.
गुजरात फिल्मी चेहरे गुजरात गर्वी चेहरे गुजरात मस्त चेहरे और जबरदस्त चेहरे गुजरात फिल्मी चेहरे गुजरात गर्वी चेहरे गुजरात मस्त चेहरे और जबरदस्त चेहरे गुजरात फिल्मी चेहरे गुजरात गर्वी चेहरे.
Given the immense potential for growth in tourism through film production, under the leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister Shri Bhupendra Bhai Patel and the Honorable Minister for State for Tourism Shri Mulu Bhai Bera, Gujarat Tourism has implemented a new cinematic tourism policy. The policy is providing a robust ecosystem for film production, emphasizing the development of infrastructure related to film and television production in the state. The new cinematic tourism policy is providing financial assistance to film-related infrastructure development projects in the state that is helping develop film cities, film and TV studios, film training institutes and post-production facilities. While benefiting various filmmaking projects, this policy has been providing facilities for films, web series and documentaries being shot in the state along with brand affiliation projects. The policy is helping financially in organizing big budget movies, mega films and musical events along with film award functions of national and international levels. Through the cinematic tourism policy, the state government is providing swift approval, security, administrative support to the filmmakers coming to Gujarat for shooting. It provides discounts in the hotels operated by TCGL and affiliates with recognized transport service providers and monitors the arrangement's progress through a feedback system. By attracting domestic and foreign filmmakers, this cinematic tourism policy has been boosting the cinema business in the state, as well as increasing local employment, tourism and economic development, making Gujarat a preferred destination for regional cinema, Bollywood, Hollywood, TV and OTT industries. Gujarat Tourism cordially invites filmmakers from around the world to take advantage of its distinctive cinematic tourism policy.